He's missing. Last night he missed threes, but he missed twos. He missed layups. He's still, he's just not there. He's not playing at the level we need him to play. We need him and Tyus to play at a very high level, and they're not.
Drop balls. We're dropping touchdowns in the end zone on guys that have made plays for us the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've got guys that are jumping up and locking in and catching the football and then hitting the ground and the ball's coming out. We had, I'm not going to call any guys out. We had very, very, for the most part, our veterans played extremely well on 3 sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams. But you start going back to our young people, and it was not good. They did not handle the surroundings well.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those 2 unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Cuse Militia.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning into the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, as always, please share it and make sure to hit that subscribe button. A brutal weekend for us as Orange fans, emotionally draining, maybe, is how I would describe it. But we're here to talk you off the ledge because, maybe our pride's damaged, but these games, in my opinion, mean very little when put into perspective, and that's what we're here to do. But before we start saving lives, we got to hear from MyBookie. MyBookie's got a new promo going on, okay? And if you've ever wanted to place a bet but were too afraid to pick the wrong team, this Thanksgiving is finally possible for you to get a 100% refund on your bet if you lose it. With the Turkey Day free play, you can bet on the spread in either the Bears or the Lions. If it wins, you win. If it loses, MyBookie will give your money back up to $250. You literally cannot lose. It's no risk, all gravy. MyBookie offers such a great product, and there has literally never been a better time to try them out. Unless your sports book is offering something like this, I think you should make the switch. I've never heard of a sports book doing freebies like this, and I doubt it'll ever happen again. These guys are trustworthy, fast, and helpful, so I know they're good for it. If you're new to sports betting and have a lot of questions, that's okay, because MyBookie's patient customer service can walk you through any questions you have about how online sports betting works. Sign up this week, and MyBookie will give you 50% deposit bonus to jumpstart your bankroll. It's a great way to bank even more money when you win. Log on to MyBookie right now and use promo code CUSE50 to get the 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code CUSE50. You do not need the promo code for the Turkey Day free play. If you lose, they'll credit the money back into your account automatically. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today and don't miss out on the gravy train at MyBookie. That's MyBookie, mybookie.ag. All right. So, with everything that kind of happened over the weekend, the 3 games, we're going to do our best to kind of put this in a nutshell and only give you the meat of it, for all these games. It was a bad weekend, and it got bad, and we're all waiting with bated breath as the status of Eric Dungey is pretty much unknown at this point. I think there's some speculation. Latest I heard, it's not so good. I can only say that, honestly, my heart breaks for Eric Dungey. This guy has given everything to this team and to these fans, and nothing short of blood, sweat, and tears, and literally broken bones. He gave it all every game, and it's a travesty. I think it sucks. And if he's not going to be able to play in a bowl game that he helped bring this team to, and the fans are all excited about, I just feel awful for him on a play that did not look very serious.
It didn't, and that's the most ironic thing, right?
I know, right?
He's taken 100 hits worse than that.
I know.
And how many times have we cringed? And I don't think anybody cringed on that. That just looked like a normal little play.
It didn't even. And
those are the type of injuries that scare you, because then it's like, okay, well, what happened?
Right, especially when he gets up, he goes to the huddle, and then he comes out of the huddle and he limps, and then he limps worse, and then he grabs his back and falls. That delayed reaction.
The adrenaline wore off.
Yeah.
And then he started to feel the hit.
Yeah.
Or whatever he did.
And something, yeah.
it's never good when you're limping and you're holding your back. That's for sure. So
no, and he could not. It was almost like his legs just gave out. They couldn't put any more weight on him. So pinched nerve, maybe. I don't know. Huh?
It could. Yeah, it could be. I just say I look at it like I like you said, my heart goes out to him, and it would suck for this to happen. But at the same time, I mean, it would kind of be par for the course. And I'm not saying that to kind of be like I don't care type, but
I get it.
More or less, no one's going to forget of what he did. He's in the record books now, even if he doesn't play another snap for Syracuse. I think that if there is further success, like I think a lot of us think are going to happen and hope for, and with this Dino Babers and everybody like that, I think that everybody, no matter if he plays another snap or not, is going to remember who was in the forefront of that,
Yeah.
So.
Well, our thoughts and prayers go out to
Yes.
Eric, the team, and obviously his family. He's got a brother, sister, and a mom, I'm sure, are,
Worried.
Exactly. So, anyway, the show must go on, and we'll see what happens against Boston College. The first time since 87-88 that Syracuse Orange basketball has started 2-2. Now, to kind of condense both games, obviously Syracuse dropped to 2-2. It was ugly, 83-76 against UConn and 80-65 to Oregon. In the two games, the Orange were 37.5 from the floor, 22 from three. Folks, it's 11 for 50. None of these guys, as far as I know, have not made a name taking deep shots. So I don't know why they continued to take so many. They were 75% from the line, which isn't horrible. And I'm not sure what happened to Brissett in New York City, but it was pretty lackluster. He shot 18.5 from the field, and he was 2 for 13, 15% from three. And only 20 points in both games. I felt like he was kind of chasing points with the three when that's not really his game. Last year, Brissett was 174 for 221 at the line. That's his game. It's like an identity crisis or something, And I know against Oregon, you had Bull in there, and maybe it was a little tougher to penetrate. But you got to kind of make up for that, don't you? I mean, Battle, he only scored, he was 11 for 27. Overall, 33 points in both games. No, he wasn't
bad.
No, he wasn't terrible, but he was silently not bad, though, right? Like, the impact was never really felt.
Yeah.
And then
that comes with, just kind of trying to figure out the roles and still figuring out who's running the offense. I don't think we have anybody out there that can run the offense. And those two games were eerily similar as far as
the
you
play.
can tell kind of.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell what our problems were. I mean, the first game against UConn, that to me it was a mystery. Like, I don't know what the deal was, if they just weren't ready to play. I mean, getting out rebound by a team like that where you have the height advantage. I mean, O'Shea Brissett, a double machine, and you going 3 for 15 for 8 points and 5 rebounds. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's not going to cut it. Especially, like I said, against an undersized team where that Cobb dude, he ended up getting a double, and he was probably the player of the game and the reason why they won. We won the turnover battle, but then they out-rebounded us by 14. And again,
Cobb's off the bench too, by the way, just to know.
Yeah, well, we were an overall bigger team. Therefore, we shouldn't get out-rebounded by 14. We won the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Really no reason why we should have lost that game other than the fact of we did because of the rebounds and because
they were hot with the three.
They shot 12 of 21 from the three-point line, 57%. Like, that's crazy. I mean, some of the ones when we were trying to make that comeback in the second half, a couple times we were making those runs, and I thought we were going to come back and have a chance.
Then
they would hit it. I mean, you're talking 5,
28
6
feet,
off the NBA three-point line. So, so that was difficult to overcome. And then the next night against Bull, that really obviously he's a problem. He's probably going to. I don't want to speculate, and I don't want to.
Think he's a one-year player? Is that what you're about to say?
Well, that, but also just the fact of how good Oregon could be. I mean, they had another player, I think Lewis King, that was sitting out, and he was their second best recruit coming in, and he's a scorer too. So I mean, that team I think is going to be dangerous. In my opinion, I think they're going to run away with the Pac-12, and that Bol guy, he's not just a Chukwu in the middle.
No.
He can dribble, he can shoot threes. He can make every single shot. That little
He has some
jump,
grace. He has some finesse, man. I mean,
that 8-footer right in the lane, no one can block that, and he's just made every single one.
I know the hooks and the floaters. He hit a 3. He was 11 for 17.
Right.
1 for 2 from 3. He hit all 3 of his 3 free throws. He had 9 rebounds and 3 steals and 4 blocks.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I believe that game we shot
26
17%.
points.
I believe that game we shot 17% from the 3-point line, and we allowed them to shoot, I think, 50% from the, I think, 25 of 50. So just overall, I mean, it comes down to we just can't score. We tried. Our offense is predicated on pick and roll in isolation, trying to create mismatches, and we just don't have the scoring down low between Sidibe or Chukwu or even Dolce right now. Really isn't helping too much. So we just don't have the full complement of our whole team, and I think there's a little bit of a role crisis right now as far as people trying to figure that out with Frank Howard out, and just overall this weekend, it's the fact that we allowed our opponents, both of them, basically to shoot 50% from field goal land or from his field goals, and
49 and 50,
and we got out rebounded.
Yep.
And those are the two biggest things. That's the difference of the game.
Chukwu never bothered to even take a shot against Oregon. He was just shut down completely. He looked like a baby horse out there once again. And this is after the last episode. I was saying how, or maybe not the last one, but I thought he had gained some muscle. I thought he was being a little bit more physical. He seemed a little bit more aggressive. But I mean, there was some of that was really ugly. I thought Jalen Carey was probably the star through both games with 40 points. He was 12 for 14 from the foul line, and he had 6 steals. I mean, so and what you see is kind of what you get with. Go ahead. You want?
I was going to say, him and Elijah Hughes were the two most impressive guys, this weekend.
Yeah.
Just because they're newcomers, but it looked like they made the biggest impact. I mean, I know
they had the biggest impact and they had the most energy.
Right. Exactly. And I don't know if that's just some type of mentality because, ironically, they weren't on that team that made the little Sweet 16. So. I don't know if it's just lackadaisical, if they just don't have that sense of urgency that, and that was another thing with UConn. UConn had a sense of urgency, like it was a tournament game, and
that was personal.
We can't show up like that. We're a ranked team now, and we, there's expectations. We're being talked about like teams know that should be pretty good, and we got some NBA players on our team, and when they show up to play us, they're going to be ready to go, and we can't just sit back and be, it's not a tournament. We got plenty of time. It's not a tournament game. Like, they didn't even look like they wanted to play the first half of that UConn game.
It was like it was almost like they were just lackadaisical out there, like the 4-year-old on the soccer field picking dandelions. I don't know. There was
didn't you say something about them showing up late to New York City or something like that? And
they were short. They were short. They showed up late. I think it was like maybe an hour or something like that because it took them like 2 hours to go 2 blocks because New York City can't figure out what to do when it snows. It's like, hello, like it never snowed there before. You right. Can't prepare for these things. So, they were late. It maybe threw them off. I don't know. Maybe they were sleeping on the bus. They didn't get the blood pumping. Obviously, they were just kind of, I don't know. They were just kind of vanilla on the court, man. It was pretty bad at first. So what you see is what you get without Frank Howard, in my opinion. Joe, you going to argue with that?
You're absolutely right. I mean, you can obviously work to get better with what you're going to look like without him, but that's really just going to come with experience more than anything. Battle. He's out of position. Jalen Carey, he only was a point guard and leading an offense. So I think his senior year of high school, so only 1 year, and now he's stepping in. And like I said, he played good this weekend. But you can play good and score, but that doesn't mean that you're good at leading an offense. And there were times where he was sloppy with the ball and had some turnovers. So. He's still got a lot to learn, but he's going to be an exciting player in the future and even be able to help us this year. But you're not going to say Frank Howard needs to come back.
He needs to come back. There's no leader. The confidence looked low. The intensity we mentioned. The ball handling was sloppy. The defense, which I thought could probably save us, obviously needs some work. I mean, they kind of look confused. And like we said, the two hardest fighters out there were the new guys on the block. So
well, these guys are supposed to be gaining experience with Frank Howard in there, especially Jalen Carey. He's supposed to be gaining experience right now, coming off the bench and helping. And obviously that's not the situation right now. So it's tough because in one instance, exactly what's going to happen when Frank Howard comes back, and you're going to have to work to, figure that out because he hasn't practiced since he had the injury to begin with. So, who knows when that's going to be. So it's just difficult because it's like you're trying to figure roles out and figure out how to win now. And now when he does come back, when Frank Howard does come back, then it's going to be a bunch of different roles changes, and you're going to have to learn how to play a different way. So it's tough.
What do you see? What do you see the lineup? Go ahead. Do you got something to say? Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm sure it's pretty tough for Boeheim to kind of figure out what he wants to exert his energy on.
Yeah, I know.
As far as how he wants to, how
many
all
options
in do you want to go if Frank Howard's only a week away? I don't know.
Right. Now they're speculating, Coach said in his post-game press conference that, he expects Frank Howard back on Wednesday. So we'll see if there is a difference in the flow to the offense. Syracuse shooting through the season so far, 38%, 96 for 249. And both Oregon and UConn scored 80+. And just to put it into perspective, last year opponents averaged 63.8 points a game for the Orange. And I didn't know this, but I read it. Syracuse has never played Oregon before, so they're 0-1 against Oregon. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And Syracuse all-time record at Madison Square Garden is 95-79. So that's a lot of games at Madison Square Garden, huh?
Yeah, it is. Big East tournament and then these other tournaments like this,
Yeah, the whole home away from home thing and this and that. Boy, let me tell you what. I'm not going to dog the fans because there was so much going on, and we talked about where do you put your money, what ticket do you buy. But both of the basketball games were really quiet as far as SU's fans go. And I know they were there. I saw them. But in the football game, they only got allotted so many tickets for like the school and stuff like that to sell through dome ticks and all that, right? It was like 5,000.
Yeah.
So
well, if you think about the way that every single one of those games started, I mean, then you can kind of understand. I mean, and if Syracuse fans, even the ones that go to the Dome, I mean, there really wasn't a lot to be excited about early in any of those games. There was a couple. There was a couple times in that UConn game where they went on some runs and it got loud. But other than that, I don't really remember it being too loud like that. So, and again, I mean, we don't really know what's going to happen as far as you don't know how good these other teams are. I mean, UConn could go and roll through the AAC.
Well, they stunk against Iowa. So,
well, I mean, Iowa beat Oregon.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I mean, maybe they just got Iowa messed up. Maybe Iowa's just a really good team. Oregon's going to be a good team.
It's like that.
That's not going to be a bad loss.
That early season speculation. You just don't know. You can't
go by rankings this early because nobody knows.
Not. Right, exactly.
And at the end of the day, if the AAC doesn't have, usually it's not that deep. So usually the top 3-4 teams, they usually beat up on the bottom half of that and they win a lot of games. So you get some of those teams that are ranked like the Cincinnati's and, UConn and SMU that's been recent years and stuff like that. So if UConn goes in and they have a good non-conference and then they go in and they beat up on the bottom half of the AAC, then that's not going to be a bad loss. It's not going to be looked at as a bad loss. And Oregon, I would be willing to bet a lot of money that Oregon's not going to be a bad loss, and it's going to be neutral court. So when it comes down to the tier system and the whole NCAA, I don't think it's going to hurt us in the long run. It's just we kind of gotta sit back and kind of observe and I guess call out what's wrong, like figure out what's wrong, and then just hope that that's what that they get it fixed.
So
and that we don't lose any other type of game because we can't have a bad loss.
Right. Well, when we won't know what's a bad loss until later down the road. But let's put this. I said I wanted to put this into perspective. It was a bad weekend, all in all. But overall, Joe, What did any of the Notre Dame game, and we're going to go over the Notre Dame game here in a second, other than having your pride hurt and getting handled like that, and minus the issue with Dungy, because that's an actual, issue, the game itself, it literally meant nothing to us, really. I mean...
Are you talking about Notre Dame?
I'm talking about Notre Dame, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's easy. Do you got something to say? Go ahead.
Well, I obviously, as a fan, you want to win.
Well,
but
absolutely.
We talked about it last podcast, and I think everyone kind of realized that we were playing with house money, and I don't think really anybody thought that. I mean, everyone knew we had to have a perfect game, and once Dungy got hurt, I think
once he threw the interception, you could kind of see the way it was going to go. I don't know if Dungy's going to make. I don't know if Dungy makes that game any closer, to be honest with you. I mean, we might have a couple more.
Are we rolling right into this right now, or
no? Hold on. Go back to the basketball games. Early enough in the season, it sucked because they were back-to-back losses. They're in Madison Square Garden, and we were riding high. And we go in there, Cuse in the City weekend. It's been pumped up since the start of the season, and here we are. We go in there, we lose both games. But Joe, other than having your pride hurt, what does it mean? What does it mean?
I mean, it means you get to play against good competition and see where your weaknesses get exposed and figure out how to fix it. And I think as a fan, any type of fan that's smart knows that they can look at it. They know Frank Howard's not there. They know that was an integral part of the team. And you look back at 3 out of the last 4 years when we made the Final Four, when we made the Sweet 16 run. I mean, it was ugly at times through the year. We got to the end, and we didn't even know if we were going to make it. So, again, it comes down to the expectations. Even last year when we made the Sweet 16, it wasn't like we were scoring amazing. Dolce ended up stepping up and scoring double digits, and it helped, and we played amazing defense. We always had a problem scoring last year, even when we made the run.
And the defense always improves. It just
from the beginning to the end, it always does. I mean, it's just to a Syracuse fan, I don't know why this would be any surprise. I think it's actually, I mean, as much as we didn't win this weekend, I mean, we were on, primetime 3 days in a row. You're being watched by others. And obviously when you be watched by other fans and people around the country, you want to win and you want to show something. But I think the true fans out there know who we have and what we have. And as far as Syracuse fans, I mean, you should know. I mean, it's Jim Boeheim. This is how it works, Right. In the beginning, he plays a bunch of people, and usually we have a couple more warm-up games before we play against teams like this. But, we got thrown in the fire. We play against some good competition, and hopefully those losses don't come back to bite us at the end, which I don't think they will. But you learn from – you just get better.
Yeah,
That was a great experience for Jalen Carey this past weekend,
Absolutely.
I think Sidibe and Dolce and Chukwu, they know what they need to do. O'Shea Brissett, they know what they need to do. O'Shea Brissett did not play good enough to win anything this weekend.
No, absolutely not. It was awful.
He didn't play well enough to even justify his minutes, other than the fact that he is who he is.
Right, right. And we know that's not the O'Shea that we're going to be seeing.
No, and it's going to be different. With basketball, it's different. You can lose, and it's all about improvement. You could lose and just get better all through the end of the year and still have a chance to get in through the conference tournament, which obviously you don't want to go that route. But, I mean, there's always a chance. So.
Right. So Syracuse Orange basketball is 2-2. It's done. It's over with. Colgate this Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the Carrier Dome.
School.
Okay? We're on to the next one, and we'll come back to talk about that. But we're 2-2. It's time to move on.
Still right.
All right, Joe. The Orange dropped to 8-3 overall. The offensive trend continued to the turf as Orange got handled by Notre Dame. Dungy was 1 for 4 for 10 yards and an interception before he was injured and helped off the field. DeVito was 14 for 13 for only 105 yards, 2 interceptions. Mo Neal carried the ball 18 times for 74 yards. Taj Harris led receivers with 78 yards and 5 catches. The Orange averaged 482 yards a game. They only totaled 234 yards of offense against the Irish. Notre Dame defense was obviously just too much for the Orange to handle. Constant pressure led to 6 sacks, and they hauled in 3 interceptions. Not taking anything away from the elusive and talented Ian Book and his 292 yards passing, but the Syracuse defense does give up a lot of yards. They average 430 yards of opponent offense. every game so far heading into here, and Notre Dame tallied 463. You can almost say it's par for the course. I thought the points were low enough to where if this offense was to score and be able to go down the field, it could have been more competitive. Point being, I'm not sure what more we could have expected with this type of defense. And, Guthrie had 12 tackles. Cisco did pull in his 6th interception of the year. Yep. He's tied for first nationally. The defense was smothering, and that's the tail of the tape right there.
It was the tail of the tape, absolutely. Again, I think there's always speculation. I don't think that you can, because, again, Dungy and DeVito are two different players, and I'm not just going to go ahead and say, when he got hurt, it was the third drive, and what was it, 10-0? He ended up getting hurt, but we were driving. We were midfield. It looked like we were successfully running the ball with Dungy in there, especially considering that they know that he is also a run option. And I saw that drastically change when he got hurt. Not to say that Dungy would have came in and we would have won some, but our defense played good enough. We talked about the bend but don't break. They drove down there, and we held them to two field goals 2 different times, and then they set up to go up to 20-0 was after that interception, after DeVito was already in, and he threw a nice little pass to Taj Harris, and that just popped up and went right in guys' hands. It was just such one of the luckiest interceptions. It was just right. So again, you never know what would have happened if Dungy wouldn't have got hurt. And again, you kind of saw the wind go out of the sails, because I think that a lot of the players knew that DeVito wasn't ready for a team like that, and that Dungy did give him the best, chance to win. And again, our defense still held up enough. I think, what was it, 20-0 at halftime?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
20-0.
And then again, we ended up getting that. Andre Cisco got that interception in the end zone, and then we held him to another field goal to the 23. So again, you look into.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that interception, that lucky interception we were talking about, that came with 4.5 minutes left in the second quarter. It was still 13-0.
Right.
So
and they were driving.
Momentum changes when your team can score. Our defense, we were just continually out there. We were out there for so long. Our defense held up, and if we could have,
I think the defense played good, man.
The defense did play good for giving up that many points. It could have been way more. Could have been way more.
Could have been 50. Could have been freaking 50. Really.
And at some point,
Notre Dame,
at the end of the third quarter, they played so many snaps, and our offense just was not giving them any hope whatsoever. That's another thing they play off of. If your offense is scoring, your defense is willing to go out there and play harder, because they know that you got their back and they're doing it for something. Right. And at some point, you're just out there and you just have no hope, and you don't even really feel like you got a chance, even if you do make the stop. So, we still were out there giving it our all. Trill Williams, he ended up having a strip that never got, reversed.
Yeah, he was 2 foot in bounds, dude. He was 2 feet in bounds when he took that ball away.
If it would have got reviewed, we would have got the ball back, and then again they went down and scored a touchdown at I think to go up 30-0 after that. So again. The timely stuff with the turnovers and everything, obviously, it's almost like everything has been too good to be true this year, Dungy plays good, and when he didn't, the 2 different times when he got hurt or whatever, you got DeVito comes in, saves his butt, and we end up, winning 2 games, and it's just we've been great with the turnover ratio and the special teams, and of course Schmidt comes in and misses a 23-yard field goal. It was almost like the perfect storm of just the things that we've been able to do to win these close games, and to not have to make just being so efficient on special teams and the sacks and the takeaways and everything like that, and being able to score points above points on the board. We couldn't do it. And again, obviously, you got to give a lot of credit to Notre Dame. Their defense is really, really good. They surprised me.
Yeah, it's good.
But I think there's always going to be the speculation of the shoulda, coulda, woulda if Dungy didn't get hurt, just because if we do end up scoring a touchdown early, or Dungy breaks a play, or this or that, your team feeds off that. And on top of that, we never pressured Notre Dame. If we could have scored with them and got it close, put a little bit of pressure on them, then you never know what could have happened. So again, it's easy to just say, what would have happened even with Dungy, but mentalities, the way you call the game as far as coaches, everything just change when something like that happens. So, and we've seen it before with the Dungy effect. We've talked about it.
Yeah. Which we haven't seen the Dungy effect this year until then.
Well, yeah,
really,
because
what we
DeVito's
call the
been able to
Dungy
come in and
effect.
save him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was the first little glimpse of it, and that was
Right.
what I was afraid of. And the floodgates kind of opened, but
Yeah.
it could have been a lot worse.
And hopefully, the probability of Dungy playing against Boston College, I would say, is nil. Okay, so they need to prepare and get their asses into gear and put on put it behind them and let's do it. Of the 7 Notre Dame drives that were in the red zone, they got out of those, just to give credit where credit's due to the defense here. I think, let's see, 3 produced touchdowns and 3 produced field goals, and then the 1 interception. So it could have been a whole lot worse. 7 drives in the end zone. You settle for 3 touchdowns. That's 21 points. The 9 points off of field goals and a turnover. But on the flip side of that too, the 3 turnovers from the interceptions, Notre Dame only cashed in 10 points from those, which that could have been a whole lot worse too. So hats off to the defense. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If I'm going to take anything away from that game, it's got to be the way the defense played. So I'm just trying to.
Well, our offense played so bad and our defense played so many snaps that to say that to only hold Notre Dame to 35, 36 points is
36, yeah.
good, because that could have been 50 easily.
Well, you were on the podcast. You were on a podcast with Irish Sports Talk, which is a Notre Dame football podcast. They invited you on there, and you said your prediction was a little off, but your points are almost right on the money as far as Notre Dame goes. You said if we hold them to, what'd you say, 35-32, Notre Dame wins at the last second field goal, right?
And that's what I said, yeah.
All right, but you gave them 35 points. My point is that I would have said the same thing. If you would have told me Notre Dame's only going to score 36 points, I would have probably said, man, that's going to be a really close game.
I thought that we would have, that's why I picked to cover the spread. If we would have held them to, if you would have said Notre Dame's only going to score 35, 36 points, and Syracuse is getting 10 points, do you think they're going to cover? I think most people would have said yes.
Yeah.
So
just too much, man. Proved to be too much.
Again, it's as a Syracuse fan, with Dungy getting hurt, especially late in the year, and then playing outside in the elements, which we haven't had to do yet. Granted, it wasn't bad, but we haven't played outside in 40-degree weather,
Not right.
It's all too familiar for a Syracuse fan in November. The only difference is that this is the number 3 team in the nation. It's not Wake Forest, or Pittsburgh, as far as a couple years ago when it was a 76-61 game. Dungy really didn't play that long. We've seen him start slow in other games. Wake Forest comes to mind. I think he played 3 or 4 drives and they were up 10-0 before he got started. And you could tell that Notre Dame was playing a little bit different, and we definitely were running the ball pretty decent when he was in there, when you had that little, when you had the option of running Dungy. So once DeVito got in there in his pocket pass, it was all over with. So again, it's all speculation, but I mean, you look at it in perspective, like we talk about as far as beginning of the year and looking at Clemson and number 2 in the nation, Notre Dame number 3 in the nation, and then our other loss against Pittsburgh. They're playing against Clemson in the ACC championship. They just beat Wake Forest this past week and locked that in. So they will be playing against Clemson in the ACC championship. So those are our 3 losses, and they did break into the top 25 as well this week. So
yeah, all right. Well,
so all 3 of our losses are to ranked teams, and we're 8-3. So put it in perspective, it's not too bad. It's just, I think, when you piggybacked,
it's just the cumulative.
Yes, from the first basketball game against UConn all the way to the cumulative, because it was like, okay, all right, and then it was like UConn was like, and then Oregon, it's like, well, Oregon's really good, and then it's like, okay, we lose by 15. Now we're 0-2 in basketball, and then everyone, I think, was like hyped up for Syracuse football to like get us off the losing end, and it just didn't change. And I think it was just
come to fruition.
Yeah, it was just one thing after another, and I think, as a Syracuse fan, it's definitely frustrating. It's a tough weekend to be a Syracuse fan for sure. But hey,
next week is a new week.
We were in the spotlight though, but we were in the spotlight as well.
Yeah, I don't really care much about the spotlight.
Two games at Madison Square Garden, and I mean, I'm just saying.
I know, I hear you.
You gotta win. You gotta win to be like. You gotta win to play primetime, bro.
I know, and I'm not one of these ranking hawks that has to check the rankings as soon as they come out and all this stuff. Yeah, it's cool and everything, and I do it if I'm gonna do social media stuff, But as far as like really caring about it, I don't. I want to see it. I want to show me the money, man. And I want to see what you do, not what people think you can do.
No, I get it, but being relevant is.
Well, it helps recruiting. It's the only thing that I think is that's the most important thing to it to me. If you can show that you can stay ranked and be relative, like you're saying, and that shows recruits that it's worth going and trying it out. So
right.
But anyways, I have nothing else to really say about it. I think it sucked, but you know what? Syracuse has got 2 more games to play, and we have an injured quarterback right now. And
it's DeVito's team.
It's DeVito's team, and we'll see what happens. I really hope that Eric can get back for the bowl game. I really am pulling for that, but I don't know. It does not look good.
I know, but you know what? I hope that they've all kind of been next man up, and I just hope that it's Tommy DeVito's team now. He's going to be the starter next year for all intents and purposes, barring something crazy. And it starts now. Just act like go in there and prepare like he's just the guy from here on out.
Yeah,
he's going to be playing this next game, and even if Dungy can come back to the bowl game, I'd still probably do some type of 2 quarterback thing or. But you kind of got to just. Well, hey.
I think it's too late for that. If Dungy can play, you play him.
It's not too late. If it comes down to a bowl game like that, you want to play a bowl game, you want to win. But I think at some point you got to just let it go and turn the reins over to somebody else. You got to stop going this back and forth stuff. And if it's going to be something to where Dungy's going to be questionable to where he might not even be able to game plan for like half the practice time, and that's one of the biggest things about a bowl game is you're guaranteed. 3 weeks of extra practice, you can get that. If you don't make a bowl game, you don't get that. So that's huge for development.
Absolutely.
And some of the younger guys, and to have DeVito be able to get those extra weeks of practice on top of getting this whole Boston College game, it'll probably be the first game that he starts in, goes all the way through, barring injury, and get him ready for the bowl game. And if by God, Eric Dungy can get healthy enough the last week or so to go in there and be able to play a little bit, just give him some series, give him some burn, give him his respect. But I don't want to see the guy get hurt anymore.
I know.
He's done enough, man. He's done enough. This season was amazing. Even if we lose the last 2 games, the season was amazing.
Yep.
Just based off expectations. So.
All right.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House, the best damn college sports fans in the nation.
All right, fan feedback is brought to us by JP Mulligan's, 202 West Genesee Street in Fayetteville. Trivia Tuesdays, every NFL game, every Sunday. Happy hours, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. And, of course, you go there for the wings. You go there for the beer. You go there to be with other Cuse fans.
Cheers.
And watch the game. And you can go there and ask Nick behind the bar if he's working for some swag. And a funny story, Joe. I don't know if I told you this. A friend of mine texted me a picture of her in one of our stickers, and she didn't know it was me, but she got it from JP's. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh wow, yeah.
So anyway, she found out later it was me, but but I thought that was cool. She got it from JP's. So yeah, nice. Go there, grab a couple stickers or whatever, and we'll keep them stocked the best we can.
Nick. Good work, Nick.
That's right. So. First, what we're going to do is our iTunes review giveaway. What you do is you go to iTunes podcast where you listen, and what we need you to do is give us a 5-star rating. It rejects 1-star ratings immediately, so just give us a 5-star, and then give us a written review. If I read your written review on the show, what you'll do then is email us at cusemilitia@gmail.com and give me your address, and I'll send out the swag as soon as possible. And I see some new ones in here, and they're great. They're fantastic. And what I'm going to do is let you know that I see you, and I will get to you, I promise. But first, we're going to do Bilski 44, most knowledgeable Syracuse. Oh, first he says, great Syracuse podcast, most knowledgeable sports podcast that you will find. 5 stars all the way. Keep up the great work, Sean and Joe. Thank you so much, Bilski. I really appreciate it. And see, it takes 2 seconds. It takes 2 seconds. It means a ton to us. It really helps us in the ratings. on iTunes and helps us get recognized. And we are the most and best rated Syracuse podcast in iTunes. All right. You can go at Cuse Militia on Facebook and Twitter, and we propose the question after most games, I would say, immediately to leave your feedback, and we use it here in this segment. But first, I put out a poll after the games for basketball. Where do you think Syracuse basketball stands after the last two games come Monday? And I've got in the top 25 or out of the top 25, and I don't think... I put out of the top 25. That was I don't get to vote on it, but that's what I would have put. And it won out 89%. I don't know if that was anger or frustration, but only 11% chose still in the top 25. I think it's going to be really close. The showing, people vote on this stuff, so, they're fallible. It's not, they vote with their eyes, right, Joe? So,
right.
What do you think?
I think it'll be close, like you said.
Yeah.
If we're still in, it'll be somewhere between the 22 to 25 rank, most likely. And if we're out, it'll be, we'll be one of the last probably 3 to 5 teams, like in other receiving votes. So we can probably drop anywhere between 22 and 30, be my guess.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do the basketball game Twitter, basketball games Facebook, and then we'll do the football the same way. So, and I'll try to get through as many of these as possible. I really appreciate everybody participating.
Oh, there's so much, dude.
Yeah, there's I don't even know. Dude,
we used to have to stretch these out.
You used to have to stretch this out. Now I got to speed read them to get through them all.
You just used to make it up.
I don't know about that. But what I did I did do is I would have to go into Syracuse football's social media feed and pull out stuff. So we do this all with our own social media now, and it's awesome. I really you guys are awesome. The podcast spreads word of mouth, and the social media, you guys are just awesome on the social media. I love it. There's conversation in these threads now between people, and I can't say enough about it. I never thought we'd be here. So, Anyway, our buddy Captain Patrick at Oil Cuse, we will be better in a month or two. Well, I hope so, Patrick. I really do. At JD's dad.
Screw the pooch.
At JD's dad, need some chemistry in UConn. Shot lights out. Yeah, absolutely. And they, we saw that didn't hold true through their next game. So, at Salty Warrior, thoughts: embarrassing, pathetic, clueless, soft, heartless, no leadership, no effort, no focus, no toughness, no offense, no defense. And remember, these are immediately after the game. So, he was upset. He has every right to be. Let's see. At DLRIT, the effort sucked. -14 on the boards is a disgrace. O'Shea was a no-show. Yeah, that was the biggest stick right there, man. O'Shea just didn't hold out. At the laugh lap, lazy defense, poor rebounding. Yeah, they got beat on the boards hard. Let's see.
That's what we talked about. Yeah, they got out rebounded and they gave up. Like I said, both teams shot 50% from the field. You're not going to win. No.
At Mr. Dodger 1966, 3 things you can count on from any Cuse basketball team: inconsistent outside shooting, big men in foul trouble early and often, big men who cannot rebound. It seems that way. It seems that way. So, at NY Sox fan, that's terrible, Keith. At NY Sox fan, I don't know.
It's White Sox. White Sox.
Yeah, okay.
It's White Sox.
I'm sure. Here are my thoughts. Carey is going to be good, and Battle needs to remove his head from his ass. Battle, like we said, not a terrible showing. Not a terrible showing, but it wasn't effective. His final numbers, outcomes, he got going late in the UConn game.
Better than what Brissett did.
Huh?
Better than what Brissett did.
Yeah, absolutely. At Mackey_62, one of these teams will be playing in March. The other will be recalling the night they hit a bunch of threes. Well, that didn't hold true. Our buddy Mike, If Not Now, when 84. Dan Hurley is the new John Thompson. Guy's a douche. I'm with Mike. He was so douchey. He was douchey.
Tough to watch, but
Dude,
I was excited.
why are you?
I
Yeah,
was
you're
excited.
celebrating. You're celebrating like a little schoolgirl. You want some pom poms? Do that crap.
Dude,
like
it's his first game like that.
he was
and
douchey.
The coach for UConn.
Mike, I'm with you,
Come on.
dude. I'm with you. The guy's a douche. I loved seeing him
man.
lose the next day with his bottom lip all puckered out like a little baby. Yeah, that was great.
Look, you guys do realize that we have to like cheer for them to do good, otherwise it's gonna be a bad loss.
That's
right?
true. That's true. At
right.
Cuse memes getting in on our feed. It's awesome. Frank would have made little difference tonight. He has always struggled against smaller, quicker backcourts. The rebounding margin was inexcusable. 3-point shooting is atrocious, and this zone is currently nowhere it should be. Yeah, nowhere near where it should be. Absolutely. And we were talking about that. The defense just is not there. The defense, I think, will get better throughout the year.
Well,
it just always does.
We're a better team than UConn. If they didn't shoot 50, if
Right,
they shoot
right,
in the mid
right,
30% from 3-point line, then we win that. Or if we out rebound, then we win that. Like, rarely when we play a team like that are we gonna get is both of that gonna happen. So we'll get better.
At J Rayner 44, I hate Dan Hurley. I concur. I hate
Jamie.
UConn. I concur. Go Cuse football. Ooh, that was before the football game.
Yes, it was.
At Mouse Aider, I don't know. Tom, special Syracuse basketball team when they don't play defense. Oh, typical Syracuse basketball team when they don't play defense. They thought they would be an easy win. Rebounding was once horrible again. No boxing out. Too much one-on-one offenses with their other 4 players stand and watch. Everything is fixable. Let's hope they do. Well, yeah, it's fixable. I don't know if it was that bad, but at Michael_mbot, Frank, come back soon. Yeah, and hopefully we get to see some of that. At Big Chuck 44, where's the press? Why are settling for threes? O'Shea needs to focus on scoring and not playing to contact. He drives to the hoop. We will be okay. Okay, what I think he's saying here is, where was the press? It was not there until the second half of the Oregon game, as far as I could see, and it worked, earlier in the season and in exhibition. And what he's saying here is what I said. O'Shea should be trying to drive in the paint and draw fouls. Let's see. There's a conversation there. We won't get into that. At GeoHeater. Oh, well, here, let's see. Let me see. Let's see what he said here. I got him, I think. Here we go.
How's it going, Cuse Nation and Cuse Militia Podcast? At GeoHeater here on Twitter. A lot of things, and I don't think I have time to get into all of it, but it just comes down to I think that there's some underlying problems here, a little deeper than Frank Howard. It just doesn't feel like they have it. Like, the competitive edge that they always play with, I wasn't seeing it. And, like, shots weren't falling, and, defensively, it seems like teams have us almost figured out. I mean, not every team's going to shoot the 3 like UConn did. And Oregon shot it really well, too. But just inside, Pascal got beat up quite a bit. It was disappointing. 2 games that could have been nice resume builders, but they certainly, I think if you win them, they look decent, but losing them hurts a lot on your resume.
All right, let's go. Let's start with this. All right, Joe, this has been speculated. Is there more of an underlying issue with the team other than Frank Howard being out and no one's just stepped up and run the offense?
Well, I mean, that is the underlying. I mean, it's figuring out the roles.
Right. Okay. Well, I think what he's saying is something that, a locker room issue or something that we're not seeing. That's the way I feel like he's taking
there's always different dynamics every year when you bring in new people, so you never really know that. But it's sometimes, like I said, it's tough in the beginning of the year because certain people had roles last year, and now other people come in, and now it changes. So, and I think that it kind of, again, what we talked about, it's tough because you don't know. People are trying to figure out the roles and everything now, and then Frank Howard's going to come back and it's going to change all over again. So,
yeah,
I would get used to it. Get used to the bumps in the road.
Brandon says, as far as the Orange tonight, they should feel very proud of themselves. They allowed themselves to be the first-ranked team to be beaten by UConn since 2014. What an accomplishment to be beat by a team who has no chance in hell to make it to the NCAA tournament. This will be great this would be a great win for them and an awful loss for us. Well, I hope not, but there's a lot of sarcasm there, Brandon. Joe, the fact that we played so bad and they shot like 60% plus from 3, and we only lost by 7 is a testament to the talent of this team. Plus, I think UConn will be better than people give them credit for. Battle hasn't gotten going yet. No, yeah, that's true. Buddy hasn't found his stroke either. It's early. No need to push the panic button yet. I agree.
Red shirt.
Lauren says, where was Battle? Carey is good, but not a point guard. Yeah. Brian, they looked lost in basketball IQ on this team is not very good. Just a bad loss, and hopefully they learn from this game. Still freaking hate UConn. Man, and this goes on and on and on.
Yeah, this is too long.
Yeah. At J Evans BCBNJ. I don't know what the hell that means. No one showed up. Complete letdown. No one stepped up, especially when Dungy went down. At Ian Witch, hats off, the better team. On to BC. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? At Kevin Craig 6, their players are a lot better than ours. At Mr. Dodger 66, nothing. Just like offensive effort. Babers is Bush League. And at the guy 13 says hardly. Yeah, Babers is not Bush League. At Soupcan 11, we sucked. At J Carpenter 74, that was rough. On to BC. Let's finish strong at 9-3. So you guys get the feel. I'm sorry, I can't get to them all, and I don't want to bore people. So that's it. Joe, wrap this up. Yeah. Move on to BC, man. It's done. It was painful.
It's done.
It's painful. It's done. Look, check out, I forgot to mention them at the beginning of the show, but I'm going to do that next time. Check out Orange Appeal Network, okay? APPEEL Network. Orange Appeal Network. It is Dale Shackelford and Roosevelt Bowie. They have their own post-game show. They go live on Facebook after every basketball game, and they contacted us, and I told them that we would help promote their show on our show as well on social media, and we hope to get them on the Cuse Militia podcast, which would be phenomenal. 2 Syracuse legends. I would be completely honored to have them on. So hopefully in the future we can do that. Until then, you can check them out at the end of every basketball game. I want to thank JP's. I want to thank my bookie. I want to thank everybody who participated in the fan feedback. We could have done a whole episode on that. So that's a wrap for Joe. I'm Sean. We're out.
This has been the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and tweet at us using hashtag Cuse Militia.